Good one.
All of a sudden, all twitch.
Got
and
30
get me.
seconds, right?
Holy. All right, welcome to the November 6th, 2023 regular meeting of the Lyman Select Board. The meeting is a public proceeding and is being recorded. Would you all please join me in the pledge of allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
I almost broke out in song. I was gonna sing it.
Retake.
No, it's okay. Sorry.
I was excited. All right, let's start off with item 1, RSU 57, presentation of adult education programs.
Good evening to the Select Board of Lyman and the residents of Lyman. My name is Adam Goad. I'm the Adult Education Director for RSU 57. I'm just in the beginning quarter of my third year in that position, and I wanted to take this opportunity as we continue to grow our program to make sure that I reached all of the towns within the RSU 57 community to share a little bit about what services we can provide folks in your community, not just around getting what is commonly referred to as their GED, but some like quality of life programming and some workforce training. So briefly, the purpose of adult education is to provide folks the means by which they can get themselves to where they want to go. And that typically manifests itself through 3 distinct lines of programming. Getting your high school equivalency, which most people know as the GED. Maine actually uses HiSET now. It's 2 different ways to say the same thing. It is a high school equivalency certificate. There is also our kind of quality of life programs. A lot of folks will know that as like making, a basket or a wreath or something around the holidays. But an often overlooked aspect of the adult education programs in the state of Maine is their workforce training component. We're actually able to partner with local businesses to provide some upskilling to their employees. If their employees have specific training needs that require the use of someone that has a teaching background, we're able to work with a lot of local employers to provide those services. And we also partner with third-party entities to provide workforce trainings that you might not expect of us. For example, someone can take a HVAC certification course with us. There really are a lot of opportunities. So I just wanted to come out and say hello and let everyone know that we are right down the road in Waterboro. And if there's ever anything that your town needs of us, please do not hesitate to ask. And if there are no objections, I'll leave my card as well as a couple of brochures on the table out there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's go moving on. Item 1B, Lyman Historical Society, history of John Burbank.
Hello. My name is Steve Lord, and I'm with the Lyman Historical Society. And would like to have it be our practice that every once in a while I stop by and give you something. And so I'm going to try to continue the tradition here. Veterans Day is coming on Saturday. We want to honor our veterans. We have a new initiative that we're starting. On our web page every month, we're going to feature a different veteran. And I'm going to be doing veterans from the Revolutionary War and the Civil War. And Millet Day, who's here, who's our president, he's going to be working with veterans from World War I and World War II. So I'm going to get the ball rolling tonight with John Burbank. And you do research on the early start of Coxall, which became Lyman. A lot was written about, and John Burbank was there. And it was about John Burbank. And they never really filled in the blanks for us as to who he was or what happened. So we've done a little digging, and we've made a display board for you to keep. And I'm going to read it to you, the story of John Burbank. And he is already on our webpage as our veteran for the month of November. So John Burbank was born in Arundel, Kennebunk in 1752. And he enlisted in Noah Littlefield's company and was stationed in Wells in the defense of York County, and later was in Portsmouth. Now we'll get to the good part. In 1776, he signed on to the crew of the Dalton, which set sail from Portsmouth on November 26, 1776. On Christmas Eve, of all days, the Dalton was captured by the HMS Reasonable, and the crew of the Dalton was charged with high treason, and he was held prisoner in the Old Mill Prison in Plymouth, England. It was notorious as being one of the worst prisons in England to be in. American prisoners dug tunnels to try to escape from there in July of 1777 and January of 1778. However, John Burbank remained there throughout the time. He was in the prison for 2 years, and at the end of 1778, he came home as part of a prisoner exchange, which was arranged by Benjamin Franklin. In 1779, he turns around only a few months later, and he signs on as the Master Sergeant of Arms of the Bonhomme Richard under the command of Captain John Paul Jones. The ship was a refitted cargo ship named for Benjamin Franklin, and his pen name was Poor Richard. And the Bonhomme Richard set sail on its first mission in June of 1779 and they captured 16 British merchant ships. So they go out again in August of 1779. On September 23rd, they encountered the HMS Serapis, a British man of war fitted with 64 cannons. This was off Flamborough Head on the east coast of England. Immediately, the Serapis shot the mast off the American ship. John Paul Jones was asked to surrender by the British captain. But when the ship passed close, he said, "Sir, I have just begun to fight." When the British ship passed close by, Jones had his crew lash the two ships together. Now the British cannons were useless. There was a fight that went on into the night, and Jones had the advantage because his crew was twice as big as the crew of the British ship. He sent soldiers, one of them being John Burbank, into the rigging, and they were firing muskets into the ship. By 10:30 that night, the British ship had surrendered. And here's a quote from John Paul Jones' biography. Jones was beset on all sides. The master of arms, John Burbank, took pity on the crying prisoners trapped in the hold while the water rose around them. He set them free, and 100 Englishmen clambered onto the deck. Jones was suddenly faced with a potential prisoner revolt. That many men might have overwhelmed his crew. Fortunately for Jones, the prisoners were terrified and grateful for fresh air, and they were docile. Jones and Dale were able, with a wave of their pistols, to convince the Englishmen to man the pumps, lest they all drown together. Unfortunately, the Bonhomme Richard had so much damage to it that 36 hours later it sank. However, the Serapis was still able to be sailed. John Paul Jones loaded all the British and his crew onto the Serapis, and he sailed it into Holland. It was the first naval victory of the United States Navy, and it earned John Paul Jones the title of the Father of the United States Navy. There have been many unsuccessful attempts to recover the wreckage of the Bonhomme Richard. So what does John Burbank do after this? He moves to Lyman, and he's listed in the 1790 census. He married Anna Whitten of Arundel, and the couple had a daughter, Sally, who was born in 1782, who married Joseph Taylor of Lyman. John Burbank lived to be over 90 years old, died in 1843, and he's buried on the south side of Alfred Road on the Arundel line, right across from where Ashley's Restaurant used to be. And the inscription on his gravestone reads, "A revolutionary soldier in the naval engagement under Captain Paul Jones." And so I have some pictures here that I'll show you, and I'll pass this around and you can look at it. Here is a painting of the battle with the Serapis, which was done by Paul Walsh of Newington, Connecticut. This painting is displayed in the United States Naval Museum in Washington, D.C. John Paul Jones died in France, and his body wasn't recovered until 1905. He died in 1794. And Teddy Roosevelt sent a destroyer to France to pick up his body, and it was brought to Annapolis, and he is interred in the crypt underneath the chapel at the Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland. And here is his coffin. And here's a bust of him, and also in the room is a model of his ship. And here is John Burbank's grave, which is flat in the cemetery, but not for long, because the cemetery committee has arranged with the Veterans Administration to have a new gravestone put in for John Burbank. And there has been some damage to the cemetery recently, and I'm going to have Millet come up and talk a little bit about that. But this is yours to keep and put wherever you'd like.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's awesome. That's really interesting.
I love it when you visit.
Yeah. It's the first time I've been.
I feel like anyone watching is like, why is she smiling like that much?
It's fabulous.
That was awesome.
So, excuse me, I'm Melick Day, the president of the Lyman Historical Society. And when we first started about 5 years ago, it was kind of like, what kind of history does Lyman have? As we start digging, we find things like this that it does have a rich history. So I think a lot of people know that there was a car accident where John Burbank has now been buried, and there's a fundraiser to replace some of the stones. And so the Lyman Historical Society has made a donation on behalf of our society to the restoration of those stones that were damaged.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
For anyone who would like to donate, you can donate here at the town hall at the front desk, and they'll be happy to take your donations for you.
Awesome.
Do you know how long? There's no, we didn't put an end date on that.
Think so.
Any
it was-
extra money was gonna be used
Yeah.
for landscaping and
I
that?
thought it was a
Um,
dollar amount.
what do
I
you
think until they can replace the headstones that are there, and then they're gonna, with any excess funds, they're going to upgrade anything else that got damaged once they replace the headstones. And you can make your checks out to the town of Lyman.
Wow, that was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was great.
Thank you very much.
Man,
Appreciate it.
there's so much to the process. That was-
Fabulous.
Come back soon.
that was great.
Maybe a little lighter.
Like,
I know. I'm telling you, people watching me are probably like, why does she look so ridiculous?
I love that stuff.
I love it too.
That's our legacy.
I'm so sorry to that. That was great. Man, that was awesome. All right, moving on to item 2. Public input. Public in attendance will have up to 5 minutes to discuss the board. Please use the podium to address the board, and please be respectful of others. Anybody want to address the board?
Good evening. Joe Wagner, 26 Day Road. And Rusty, before you start the clock, I'd like to check something with you. Ms. Gable told me that because I missed the last meeting, I get 10 minutes today. Is that?
Yeah, that's what I said. Just making that up. Making it up.
I'd like to see
All right.
on that part.
First off, I'd like to thank speaking of the Naval Academy, thank our resident graduate of the Naval Academy, Don Hernan, for his service to this country and to this town.
I didn't know John.
Here,
Paul
here.
Jones.
Right with him.
Before my time.
Well, I was thinking that it
Fair.
was very good that you were sitting there to hear that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
Wasn't
glad
it?
you were
It
here.
was. That was fantastic. Sorry, I didn't do good.
No, that's good.
Sorry to interrupt.
All right. Item 5 on tonight's agenda includes discussion of the town clerk's position. It'll be interesting to hear how the data prepared for the board's agenda packet will be interpreted. Regardless, the select board is encouraged to advertise and fill the vacancy in a position of town clerk that was recently reestablished at a special town meeting on October 3rd of this year. This position is entrusted with numerous pressing duties. Per state law, the town clerk is responsible for the registration of vital statistics and municipal record keeping. Specifically, that includes the maintenance of marriage, birth, and death certificates. Town clerks are also responsible for business licenses, play an important role in fish and game regulations through the issuance of hunting and fishing licenses, and are involved in ATV, snowmobile, and boat licensing. Regarding the conduct of elections, per state law, the town clerk is directly responsible for the administration of municipal, state, and federal elections. This includes the training of ballot clerks, wardens, and moderators, posting public notices of upcoming elections, producing local election ballots, and setting up and maintaining the security of voting machines and ballots. Other services the past town clerk performed for the town included the administration of oaths of office for municipal officers and municipal officials, the preparation and submission of all necessary reports of records to the town and state, organizing a rabies shot clinic, and putting together the holiday season giving tree. Now, that while this seems like an exhausting list of responsibilities, there is no preclusion for the assignment of other administrative duties as needed. The expression separate and distinct in the article approved at the special town meeting must be taken in context. The clear intent was to separate the town clerk's position from the town manager's position. It is not to be construed as excluding other administrative duties such as assisting those working at the counter. Now, 2024 is just around the corner, and in March and in June, primaries will be held, in which unenrolled independent voters will be now able to participate. And in November of next year, there'll be a national election that might be the most consequential and contested in our lifetimes. We live in a political environment in which the integrity of elections has been questioned. It is all the more pressing to fill the town clerk position so that voters in Lyman are confident that the process is conducted with professionalism and precision. Quite simply, the numbers have to add up. Now, the article approved at the special town meeting provided more than sufficient funding from surplus for the town clerk's position for the remainder of this fiscal year. Now, please note that the amount for salaries approved at the June town meeting, Article 32, was $19,373 in excess of what was requested in Article 16. This amount was used in the computation of the amount approved in the special town meeting for the allotment for the town clerk position. Each dealt separately with amounts allotted for the same budgetary line item, salaries and wages. And taken together, the maximum amount allotted for the town clerk for a full year, 40-hour work week equates to well over $37 an hour. As that number suggests, the town clerk was not intended to be a part-time position. The list of duties, the organizational chart in the town charter, and most importantly, the votes at 2 town meetings substantiate this intent. So again, I ask that the town clerk position be as expeditiously advertised and filled as possible. Thank you.
Didn't even need 10 minutes.
Hi, I'm Susan Briggs, Briggs Way, Lyman. To add to what Joe said, I just want to call out what's in the packet tonight for the town clerk, which was a TRIO study, which basically only addresses what happens with a payment at the counter. It doesn't address the elections. It doesn't address any of that. It doesn't address all the time involved for the town clerk's positions. And many times the town clerk will prepare things and the payment will be made at the counter, in which case that's documented under tax collector or the admin assistant. So I just wanted to take the time, when you look at that chart, to understand that there's a lot missing from this chart for a town clerk, and that it is a full-time position. We've always had a full-time clerk. All the towns that have a town clerk, they're full-time positions, and they aid at the counter when necessary. If we didn't have a second person at the counter, and I can't remember her name, I apologize, right now, that town clerk would have to step in. If 2 people were to leave for training, as we saw happen twice this year, the counter has to be closed. If there had been a town clerk, the town clerk would have kept the counter open. So, and the other thing you might want to note is that this year's, for fiscal year 2023, the town clerk's TRIO numbers are extremely low, and I question that. Does that mean that our town manager, who is acting as town clerk as well, is not performing any of those duties for the counter? As you can see in the other things, other years,
they have been. Dogs, snowmobiles, ATVs, boat registrations, those are all typical counter duties anyways. They have nothing to do with the town clerk unless the town clerk has to have stepped in to aid the counter. So I just wanted to make a note on that. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Carol Baker, Room Master Road. Joe and Susan have presented a lot of facts and figures, and I think you know most of them, to be real honest. I think at this point we've gone through the numbers. I just want to bring one more thought to bear as you make this decision and discuss it again tonight, and that is the concept of good faith. You're elected in good faith by the voters of Lyman to represent their wishes, to serve on the select board. I voted for some of you because I felt like you would be excellent representatives for this town. And the people that vote at town meeting and signed that petition prior to the second town meeting and came and voted at the second town meeting had good faith that you would act on what they voted. They believed that if they voted to hire a town clerk full-time, they put in enough money for full-time, that that's what you would do. That was the contractual agreement, that we put our trust and our faith in you, and that you will be deserving of that and you will honor those wishes. And I just sat in your last select board meeting and I thought, yay, town clerk's on the agenda. They're going to advertise the position. We're going to move forward. Things are going the way they're supposed to. And then there was this whole discussion about, oh, well, they could be part-time. They could be hourly, not a salary. We don't have to rush into this. Hey, we could write a job description. And I just left feeling like I didn't know why I bothered. I didn't know why I had taken all the steps that I do as a citizen, and I try to be involved. And then somebody that I respect in the town said the same thing to me a few days later. I don't know why I bother if they're just going to go ahead and do whatever they want to anyway. And I don't think that's the message that any of you intend to send. I think that we're at the point that it's crystal clear that the townspeople of Lyman who took the time to vote twice want you to hire a full-time town clerk, and that's what we should be doing. So I'm really hoping tonight when I sit here and you get to discussion regarding town clerk, that's what the discussion is. We're going to post it, we're going to fill it, and it's going to be what the voters want. And if you're still sitting there going, gosh, Carol, you're wrong, the figures don't back it, it's not a good thing, then justify that before the next town meeting. Lay it out there. Lay out the facts. Explain why you think it's a silly idea to still have a full-time town clerk. But in the meantime, twice now, townspeople said that's what they want. And so I don't see why it would be anything else. And I really urge you to take those votes into consideration because you are good people and we've given you our faith and we would like to see it shown back. Thank you.
Ouch. Last meeting was the first one and the only one that we've discussed it so far. That was a good discussion to start with. There's been nothing decided yet. We don't have a job description. And I feel like we have a job description for every job here. And so I thought we were being prudent by wanting to not rush into anything like that. I understand the will of the people. I understand it very well. But the will of the people, I don't believe, would be to have us knee jerk and do something that we regret later. I thank you for your input, though.
All right, moving on to mail. There's every group is sending out their budget requests for money. So that's what most of this mail is going through. There is the Elford, the dispatch from the York County Sheriff that I always find just interesting. If you get time to browse through it, it's pretty interesting. All right, let's move on to item 3.
There it is. Hiding at the bottom.
Yep, it's pretty interesting. It's a fun read. Going on to item 3, the minutes, review and approve meeting minutes for 10/16/2023. Jessica and myself were not there, and there's no Tom tonight, so that only leaves 2. So this will have to be tabled to the next meeting.
Well then.
Just get quiet.
I only saw one thing anyway, it was just storm.
Do you want to give it to me, Vicki, and
Yeah, we can just.
I'll have Lindsay make the change?
There wasn't, it was at the top, right?
I know I
Second.
marked it.
They will get
Right
long.
here on page 2 at the top.
Yeah.
Page 2 at the top, Jeanette Charter was just some of the letters.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotcha. Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to item 4. Payroll warrant number 16 in amount of $27,785.22.
I'll make a motion to accept payroll warrant number 16 in the amount of $27,785.22.
I will second that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor? All not in favor?
I was gonna say something else, but,
Go ahead, no,
well,
please.
the
Don't
total
get too far.
payroll at the bottom of that says $28,268.43, so I was just wondering that's why I wasn't quite ready to vote. If you, at the bottom of the page,
Yep.
you brought up the number, made a motion on 27,785.22. And then down here, it says total payroll, $28,268.43.
And that's it.
I think Jeanette has the answer.
I will verify, I will clarify for you. Wrong word. So the 27,000, the difference between the 27,000 and the 28,000 are employee deductions. For instance, I buy my eye insurance. So when we pay the Maine Municipal Health Trust bill, that's when you approve that difference between those two items. So what you're approving right now is the amount of money that needs to go out right now. And then if you look in your warrant, you have a Maine Municipal Employees Health Trust, and that's when that money gets approved.
Okay.
So you're approving it, but you're just doing it at different times. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. I
Okay.
appreciate your explanation. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yay.
All in favor? Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
I've always wondered about that. I think I've asked that question before too. But
Well, that's what it
And I
is.
think I've heard that a few times too, and that's why
Yeah,
oh, this next one's crazy number.
yeah, I
All
knew
right,
you would
accounts
be.
payable warrant number 17 for year ending 2024 in the amount of $890,590.45. It takes a lot of going back and forth, but
I would like to state for the record that one of these checks is made out to my cousin. He's a surveyor, did some work for the town for that hydrant. But I mean, if y'all don't want me to vote on the warrant for that, I won't, but I just wanted to disclose it. I feel like I can still vote on it.
I feel
I
you
think
do
the
too.
percentage of the total weighs itself
Right?
out.
Well, I'm just saying, I just want to be transparent.
Yes.
That's all.
What is the 0.0002%? back and forth. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion for accounts payable warrant 17 in the amount of $890,590.45.
I'll second that.
I have some things to discuss.
Yes, please, any discussion?
On page 3, there's a payment for Kennybunk Pond Gate for $100. And I thought we were done with that. Like, I didn't think the gate was being closed. Was that for,
It should be trash.
oh, okay,
Yeah, I got that wrong. I'm sorry.
okay,
Because that was his trash. We did Parks and Rec, Bungana, and Kennybunk Pond. So it should be in the trash line.
okay,
I'll make that change, Amber.
okay. And then, same thing, down a few, plowing and shoveling town hall for $773.33. Have we had a storm?
That was,
No. Oh, no, we didn't have a storm, but we have a contract.
We paid.
So if we divide the contract out by 5 months, I believe it was,
Okay, so
that's the
that.
portion
Okay.
of the contract.
And then,
Good job.
the next page 4, Jessica's cleaning service, additional vacuuming for $300.
Yeah, so in the winter, we hire them to come in on Wednesdays and vacuum a second time because of the leaves and the salt and sand and everything that gets tracked in from outside for the winter.
Okay, so this is different than the additional vacuuming that was being done before because of whole key and room situations?
No, we were doing that before, but I dropped that for the months, once we got the key straightened out. She wasn't doing the additional.
Okay,
So she's doing the additional now for the winter portion of it. But when we got the key straightened out, she wasn't doing the additional.
okay,
That makes sense?
it
Yeah,
does.
I think I'm on the same page.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Any other discussion? You all got that?
I'm good.
All right. All in favor?
I,
All right, thank you. All right, item 5. Unfinished business, review planning board bylaws.
So Lindsay left me a note and said that all of your notes and discussions are in your packet from 10/16. The updated bylaws reflect the changes that were agreed to at the 10/16 meeting. So this would be up to you to approve, or if you still have other things you want to cover.
we read these over earlier and there was nothing that
Yeah.
leapt out at me. I have no issue.
Same.
Is that a motion, Vicki?
Make a motion, we accept the draft as written.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All?
Thank you.
Thank you,
We'll
Dawn.
put that in the wall now. That rock is done. I hope.
Nice.
Till the charter gets changed or something.
Oh, no. Not again.
Not again, Don.
Thank you.
Oh,
We agree.
do you want a sticker, Don?
No, I don't.
Okay.
You can have all my stickers. You can have all my stickers.
All right, let's go to item number 5, franchise agreement. Discuss next steps.
So the draft agreement is in your packet. It's the final version from Tony and Brad. And unless you want to consider other changes, kind of need to know what you want to do at this point. Do you want to put it out to approve, or do you want to take another look at it?
This is what's just going back to Shelley. This is not the ordinance.
This is not the ordinance.
Right,
Correct.
that's what's
This is
shown.
the agreement.
Yep,
Dealt
To
with the
keep things
ordinance.
moving
Yeah,
forward
you
with Shelley.
approve that.
Okay.
Is this where we decide if we want to charge a fee or not?
No. I don't believe so. That's in the ordinance specifically, I believe. I think this just gives us the ability to do that
Yep.
if we decided to.
That's right, that's what it was. It was one had to work with
This
the
is
other.
the one that we've been going back and forth with Shelley.
yep, just a percentage, up to, if we wanted to.
But this is just the agreement. This isn't.
And
I think this goes
I
back
didn't
to.
get to read, I only got to page 19.
That's it.
And then my brain was
And
like,
we're
I'm
fried.
going to bring the dog for a walk.
This has been going on,
Since before me, Rusty.
I was gonna say 6 years. And Tony has been like a hound dog on it. And he's with
Great.
Brad, and if they are both to agreements on this, I've worked on it for they've worked on it for so long, holy cow. Yep. And really, it's up to them. They're gonna read it and either kick it back or agree.
Well, do we know if the language for the video service provider got put in there? I didn't come across it in what I had read. And then I did see something about liquidated damages that he had mentioned to put in there, but I hadn't come across that yet either.
And what was your first question?
Video service provider. That was supposed to be for like any streaming that they started, which they are starting now to do a streaming through.
That's right, we talked about that last time Tony was here.
Yeah,
Liquidated damages starts on page 28.
okay, so it goes in there, okay.
Are you talking like a public channel, local public channel?
No, it was like, it's like a streaming service. They're offering
Yeah,
a
Netflix,
box
if you have- yeah.
Oh, okay,
in
yeah,
place
yeah,
of like cable. And so he made the suggestion that we put the wording in to cover that in the franchise agreement. I didn't see it like in the list of definitions.
Yeah.
And if I had it in front of me, I can pull it up, but
I guess for,
Should we ask that question before we? That question for
Yeah.
2 weeks. but-
Yeah. I'm okay with that. So I'm gonna make sure that's part of it. We talked about it with him.
All right, so we're gonna ask Tony this question.
in the videos.
You wanna word that, so it's.
just where in this does it talk
Okay.
about
Yep.
covering, the video
I don't know,
Video
I muted
service
into this
provider?
What's it called? Because I can search on my phone.
He just called it a video service provider.
Yeah, I think we need to make sure that's in there, since we talked about it.
Definitions.
Make a motion to table this
Yeah.
until we get an answer to that question.
I second that.
Any discussion on that? All in favor?
I,
Yep, I agree. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Page 3. Non-exclusivity, or C. Page 1.
Yeah, I think that's
Is
just
that just
saying
mentioning
that if, should another cable company come into town, we can have the same franchise agreement with them.
Because that's the only place that says video service.
yeah, there it is, right at the top of the page.
But that's the only.
Yeah, and I don't know if video services are separate than video services provider, if those are two separate things, I guess. I
Yep. Call it Tony.
that clarified too.
You know Tony knows the answer.
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
Way more about cable now.
All right, let's move on to C, discussion regarding town clerk position.
So I know Lindsay had some conversation with you at your last meeting regarding the town clerk position. I know she's working on a job description for that. And one of the questions that she had was where it says, the request was independent, like exclusive, or, can other jobs be added to that? And I'm hearing tonight that maybe that's a possibility. 62,000, I ran the numbers on that and divide that by 1,950 hours. That didn't even come up to minimum wage. So if you do 1,920 hours, I can at least get to minimum wage with that. So she's provided you with some additional information, and I know she wants to have a conversation with you at your next meeting as to kind of try and finalize what this is going to look like. That's the information that she gave me.
Can I do what I do and suggest that maybe we just do a workshop that maybe Jeanette can be at, Lindsay can be at, we can all be here together and have all the data and all the budget information and the charter and all the things and have a conversation? Is that? I know everybody hates, maybe they don't hate workshops, but I want a time where we can have all the information and just talk it through, not necessarily, I know we can't make decisions or make votes at workshops, but I need all the information in one place, not like separate meetings or separate emails, so that we can just say, okay, what are we doing here? Does that make sense?
Right,
I was
how you
gonna, I was
how
gonna
you want-
ask for
what
the
you
same
want this to
today.
look
Write
like.
it out your calendar.
Yes. Because I didn't know I didn't know, but I have been doing some thinking about it myself after that conversation from the last meeting, because I'm a processor.
Mhm.
And I know that how it was said, and the expectation, I believe, by the people that voted on it is to have the town manager position be very similar to what it was before.
Town clerk.
Town clerk, I'm sorry. I apologize.
It's okay.
It was an unfortunate slip of the tongue, but, so I wanted to have a workshop too, because I did talk about it last time about that I didn't see a problem with it being part-time, but I really got thinking about it, and then with, when election time comes and the absentee ballots, it's insane the amount of time that gets put into that and whatnot, so I don't know, I can second guess things if I'm to be compelled with good reason. So, yeah, let's do a workshop, because
All right.
I like to have this rolling well before the presidential elections and primaries.
Absolutely. My days are packed, so I'll just make
Yeah.
whatever work.
Want
at
to do
this
next
point.
Monday? Does that work for you?
That's what I just opened. It's not ideal, but I'll
There's
make it
a
work.
Bunganut meeting.
She was supposed to give me a schedule. I didn't get it.
Well,
Could we do Tuesday?
You need two places at once, kid.
I know.
Can we do Tuesday?
Tuesday, I wouldn't be able to make, Tuesday or Wednesday, I wouldn't be able to make it, but.
No,
obviously-
no, I think it's important that we all
Yep.
don't wanna.
Yep. We have to see Lindsay's schedule too.
Well, you can set a tentative and if she has a problem with it, I can have her get back to you.
Thursday the 16th.
Can't do that. It's like the one day that whole week I can do, it's the 16th.
Okay.
Once we do a John's Day.
That's no problem.
We have a meeting until one. We push it on the 21st. And that's a crazy week to do, even think about anything.
I'm getting into budget season.
Yeah, that's Thanksgiving week.
No,
I'm just gonna say it, I can give Friday the 17th if other people can. It's not a favorite, but.
I'm open on that.
I'm open Friday, the 17th.
We have no lives.
I know, I
We
know.
don't have kids.
I hate that idea.
I'm sorry.
Friday night. Who has a meeting on Friday night?
Little
Town of
kids.
Lyman.
Don't wanna watch another
We have no lives.
And usually like,
Well,
well,
it's Friday night, I can start earlier. We can go earlier.
so we're gonna have beer and pizza or
No,
what?
that's not what I'm saying.
No.
No, I didn't say I wasn't down. I said that's not what I was saying.
Well, you all figure it out and I'll just be there.
So, so
I don't need
Just-
pizza.
Friday the
Is this
17th at 6.
Thursday open for anybody?
No, it's the 17th.
The 9?
No.
No, okay.
All right, so we tentatively schedule it for
Friday.
Friday the
Friday the
17th at 6?
Is it the 17th?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
We're gonna ask employees to work on Friday night too.
Hey, we
We'll make
do
time.
whatever you need.
All right. All right, that's awesome. I feel so much better about making decisions. Whew. Tom, you watching this? Friday the 17th?
Can I ask a quick question of Jeanette? Jeanette, you stated 1,900 and something hours. Is that for the remainder of the fiscal year or is
No,
that
for
for the
that-
entire year?
That's for an entire fiscal year.
Okay, and how many hours, say it was December 1st, is in the remaining of the fiscal year?
I'd have to check.
Oh, yeah.
I know it's 1328 if it were November 1st, so. I don't know whether it's 40 hours or 38-hour week.
I have one request that I'd like to make for that workshop. I would
That
like
makes
to,
a difference in the hourly rate.
I would like to have a copy of the contract that we signed with the town manager. Any personal information can be redacted, but I'd like to see, I can't remember what it said about that part of the job in that contract, if there was anything, but I'd really like to see that before we go and make any kind of discussion or decisions. That would be prudent, I think.
Done.
It's a valid point, thank you.
Yep, definitely. Yes, yes. All right, let's move on to item 6. Departments and committee reports. Tom's not here, no commissioner. Fire chief, no Matt. CEO, Brenda's here. No,
I'm just here.
tax clerk, treasurer, the expense report is in here.
Yes. I would have flipped that page. I'm like, I don't have one. Ugh.
Now she has two.
Yeah, one for each hand. We're gonna need these because I see on this, which is something else I was gonna ask for. something on this agenda, schedule budget workshops, that somebody's reading my mind, and I'm not sure if, I mean, sometimes there's only room for the gerbil and the wheel in there, so.
It's like,
Sure.
it's like you texting something to somebody and all of a sudden you get a prompt of what you were just texting about. Yeah. Yeah. All right, we'll go into town manager's progress report. She should be here to read this. That's a lot of reading. It's in the packet. That's- Oh my God.
RS, you're funny.
I do know she's away getting trained, so.
Do you want me to read it?
You wanna read it?
I can read it.
That's a lot of reading, kid. Skim it.
Town Manager's Progress Report, November 2nd, 2023. Please find my progress report concerning various items of interest to the Select Board and the community. Grant proposals. In October, we've been awarded funding through the Risk Reduction Enhancement Grant Program, which allows reimbursements up to $2,880 in efforts to improve workplace safety at the transfer station by adding installation of networking video recording devices. Initially, this funding will allow for the installation of one surveillance camera with the ability to add additional cameras as necessary. Currently, I am working with IT and conducting a reconnaissance of the property to develop a plan that includes the initial setup as well as reservations for future add-ons. Building and grounds update. Assessment for the town hall expansion and updates is ongoing. Custom Concepts headed off initial research to identify all potential avenues and determine best and practical options. The classification of the wet areas and stream behind the building are likely to endure more challenging and time-consuming measures, while other options such as building out to the side or upwards may be more efficiently executed. More research continues to confirm the existing specifications of the building to help identify potential ideas. Other projects underway include the Bunganut Park concession stand, which will be undergoing construction to remove and replace the existing stairs. Work is anticipated to begin within the next 1 to 2 weeks and should move along smoothly. Additional cameras have also been installed in the vault for added security. The ARPA-funded projects. The transfer station reconstruction project is now completed. A new slab was put in for an existing compactor, helping to repair uneven surfaces and secure the compactor in place. Other loading areas had concrete and steel fabrication replaced to fortify the ground surface, making a safer drop zone for residents. Barrier walls have been replaced behind the buildings and around the other canisters, and the canopies covering the canisters have been rebuilt. Overall, the work has made some significant improvements to the transfer station. Kennybunk Pond Beach improvements are underway. The contractors for the landscape improvement and the gate system will be working together to coordinate some of the work necessary for the gate. The project in whole will be completed in phases, and full completion is anticipated to come late spring to summer next year. The Kennybunk Pond Beach Committee is also currently reviewing options for installing cameras in the parking area. Elections. State referendum election for November 7th, 2023, which is tomorrow, will be located at the Lyman Elementary School. Polls will be open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Information about referenda can be found on the town's webpage under the Elections and Town Meetings subpage. New election laws will take effect in February of 2024, allowing voters at least 65 years of age or who self-identify as having a disability to apply for status as an ongoing absentee voter, to which each qualified applicant will automatically receive an absentee ballot for all state and municipal elections where they would be eligible to vote in. Initially, this law was scheduled to go in effect in November. However, the state had recently opted to push back the date to February after the November election. While this change is new to all municipalities, I feel confident having implemented cross-training will help prepare for these upcoming changes, and I'm excited for residents to take advantage of a new program. As more information comes out regarding the process for applying, I will be adding relevant info and links to the website.
Yeah, thank you.
We used to
You
read,
need to drink?
when I was on the board before, we used to read every single warrant article, on the warrants, every check, so that was really no.
Okay.
I do have a comment about the transfer station. I was up there last weekend, brought my recycling, you'll be happy about that, Amber. I noticed a few things that I feel like are still safety issues, and I don't know if they're, I was gonna bring this up, to the town manager tonight, but she's not here, so, but there's a few places where the compactors are that they did a really nice job with the concrete, like all in all, I'm really pleased with what I saw. I did see the safety item that I saw was a place where a little foot or a foot in general could fall into this gap in between the can, the hopper, and the cement, and I wouldn't want to have anybody fall, like, I think some sheet steel
Yeah.
would, because you have to move those things in and out, so they are.
Before, so.
And anyway, that was not installed when I was there last week.
So I know something got installed after you were there. And I'm not sure if it's what you're talking about.
I'm not
Do you-
either, but
do you know?
I can,
I think he said they were making a plate for their.
I don't think,
We'll
that-
double
I'm
check
not,
on
I
it.
know I'm not the only one that noticed it, so, but I just wanna make sure that gets done, because I hate to see somebody break an ankle in there.
So it's the same thing we're talking about then.
I think it's.
And then someone else stole your thunder again.
I don't mind,
He's already
anyone
taken-
is allowed, the thunder is, belongs to everyone. It's everyone's thunder.
We'll get it addressed.
I just wanted to make sure that
Yeah.
that happens, that's all. Yeah, I just realized I forgot my water bottle.
I was just thinking, after all that reading.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to item 7.
Do you want budget update? In terms of,
Maybe on or other.
do you want to?
Okay, Karen Kane, Pines Lane, for Kennybunk Pond. First, I just want to make sure that everybody is aware that there is a webpage up now on the town site for Kennybunk Pond, and we did add a very comprehensive summary of the project. So if anybody has any questions about the project, it's all there.
Nice.
Okay, so hopefully you've seen it. Moving on to cameras so that we can close out that piece of it. We did have a meeting with Brendan, and we had a committee meeting, and I'm going to give you our recommendation.
Thank you.
At first, Brendan suggested having 3 cameras installed, and when we went through this and asked a lot of questions, we figured we could narrow that down to 2 cameras, having 1 camera positioned on the entrance gate area, and then another camera that spans the backside of the parking lot. In order to install those cameras and get them networked and have him monitor it, the total for 2 cameras, which is what we're recommending, we don't recommend going down to 1, but for 2 would be a little over $4,000, $4,085 for the installation and everything that goes along with it. To get Spectrum to run the cable from the road is $99. And then there's ongoing costs for the internet service, which is $129 a month from Spectrum. And then we would be paying Beam Data for doing the monitoring and the maintenance and the service of the components that are involved. This is within the budget that has been allotted from the opera funds. So if you are in agreement with our recommendation, what we would do is move forward and get a more definitive quote from Brendan on the 2-camera installation.
Was it, was the cameras part of what we already voted on? I thought that
I
was,
thought that was, that we removed that.
yeah, I don't
We
think the
removed it
cameras were in the,
Gotcha.
Yeah, I. Let's just not get in trouble right now.
Yeah, it was always part of the project.
yeah, but we didn't vote on it when we
took it out
voted
from the ARPA
for-
funding. It was it, didn't we?
No,
Was
I
it-
don't
No.
think, no. No, it was
I
all
thought-
part of the,
I thought when we were
the
looking at
22,000.
cutting it back to where, for the money that we had, that was, I thought that was part of the.
No,
The gate,
Yeah,
right?
gate.
yeah, the type of
Yeah,
gate.
Well, I knew that part, yeah.
Yeah, because we've said all along that we wouldn't put a gate in there without without cameras, because, you know, if there were any vandalism or anything, we'd want to catch whoever was responsible.
Is this money over and above what we've already put in? for
No.
ARPA?
No, in
No.
fact, I think we'll come in under what has been allocated. The only other component that is outstanding is the cost of the electrician to do the final hookup of the cameras and the automated gate. And Dave Alves is working on getting that quote from Ed.
So that really goes back to, I think we've already voted on this stuff.
Yeah.
I think we have. I think the only thing I want to keep in mind, and this isn't for your committee necessarily to do, is that we have to keep these ongoing costs in mind for annual
That's
budgeting,
it.
if that's going to be something.
The budget committee discussed that at the last meeting.
Yeah.
Cameras everywhere. I don't.
And I think that somewhere along the line, it's probably more of a, I forget if we call them an IT committee or a technology committee. All my work committees and town committees are blending. But I just want to make sure too that there's some type of a like replacement schedule, so, or monitoring of like which cameras are functioning and where does the stuff go and what's the lifespan of whatever specific camera, so that we can plan and not be in a position where we dump money and then it just. And again, that's not specific to your committee, just general thoughts.
So what's the direction for the committee?
I think, because you were just saying that if you guys were gonna do this, you would need more definitive numbers from Brendan, is that what you were, yeah. I think that's when we would approve anything, like final approve anything.
Okay, so we'll get that quote in.
I think
Okay.
in the right direction. I mean, I think that we've already approved it all, I guess.
All
So
right.
now we're just,
Thank you.
thanks, Karen.
Thank you.
I don't have any papers, sorry. Michelle Felicetti, Bunganow Pond Committee. So far, we are meeting Monday for anyone interested in kind of coming to the next meeting we're having. Karen was amazing and put together a PowerPoint that we're starting just kind of from the get-go of the history of Bunganow and some neat stuff we've all kind of collected about the Boy Scout camp that was there. One thing that's exciting that I'm going to get in touch with Matt from the Y, there's a gentleman at the YMCA that actually has pictures of the hotel that was there and a bunch of historical data. So I'm waiting to hear from him. I've offered to go get copies to be able to bring into the Bunganow Pond Committee fold of documents we're collecting. Basically, we've also reached out to ARPA, and there is what was the name of that project? AARP.
Yeah.
There's too many initials and acronyms in my brain. I know, my God. What was the name of that program that all the communities are? There's a program that we found a lot of communities around here, Kennebunk, Sanford, Arundel, through AARP, that they're a part of that actually has funding that you can get, and they do stuff for the community. So the town manager was kind enough to get us a membership, which is free. So we can get in there, and our next step is to find contacts at the local towns near us, how they did it to get that funding as well. And it's for accessibility for handicap or elderly into some of these places like at Bunganet Pond that we've been talking about. We're going to try to brainstorm some fundraisers because we have no money. And there is a grant that I think we can go for that is due in March. Is it March?
Yep.
That we're going to try to get documents together and get that done in time to submit, as well as there's one in June for trail systems that we're also starting on collecting data on and getting the documents together to hopefully get some trails going over there for walking. And that's where we are with Bunganet Committee. Thank you.
Your meeting on next Monday is at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock here at the town hall. Yep.
You guys put yours on YouTube, right?
Yes. Yes.
Will you have the results of your survey?
I was just gonna.
Yeah, Lindsay, I mean, how many, we had 160? 100 and, it's, we have like 150 at least results. MailChimp had given us a problem downloading the results. They overlapped when you printed them. That just got straightened out. So there's actually a really great collection of data. It's very voluminous, really good reading though, and really cool. A lot of people kind of have the same thing, same issues with like the swampy area. Download the wood chips that are hard on the feet, want to see better access into the water, better handicap accessibility, the train wreck of the stairs going down from the parking lot, and how it's just a killer for knees or anyone trying to get down there with a stroller. It was,
I have an idea about that.
yeah, there was a lot of cool stuff though, but it was the same stuff that we saw when we were down there.
It could also double as a pretty good sledding hill.
Well,
right
that's
there,
what
too.
Parks and Rec
So
wants
if
it for.
If we moved the stairs over
Mm-hmm.
and did a railing and stairs on the side.
Agreed.
And I was just thinking about that today, actually.
Because then the kids could come back up for the next ride down.
Heck, yeah,
Yeah,
tire them out.
that's right. That's what it's all about. So it's
So long as they don't go right out into the pond.
No, they.
well, it's each being further around at that point. So, so anyways, no, we have some great ideas coming together. We're really excited. It's going to be a big project, a long ongoing. So we're going to kind of pick maybe 3 things we can do. That's financially not a lot, but enough to actually, like the Pines, make 3 areas where the rentals there can maybe start bringing money in to do further projects that wouldn't be a big expenditure. And again, we're looking at maybe potential fundraisers and ways to do that. So that's
I'd
where
like
we're
to
at.
see a plan made, I mean, based on all these things. I know this is just beginning. But
Right.
This is what, like, maybe a 5-year plan or let's get these priorities.
Right.
This is what we want to do.
Yes.
We want trails, we want this, we want that.
Right.
Prioritize how they should happen, get like maybe a 5-year plan
Yep.
going. And maybe see about a reserve account, a revolving reserve account.
That's a
being
good idea.
started So that we can obtain these goals.
Right.
And,
Just, yeah, something, even just $5,000 to give us something to go with, to start with if we need
I mean,
advice
'cause
or something.
personally, I'd rather put money into things like that are tangible than cameras.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
And
that's,
I know the
but
technology. I know
cameras will-
different people have different opinions. This
Right.
is just mine. I'm sharing mine.
Right.
I
mean, cameras may potentially be like Bunganet had the break-ins all that last winter, someone squatting in the mansion. And then we had the gate get broken, and then you had the guy shooting up in the shack. So there potentially is reasons to have cameras or a camera at Bunganet facing the entrance, because you are they did a great job. The Y did an awesome job boarding up this time. You can't get into the mansion this time. But I know last year someone was squatting in there. Brad had gone multiple times, and lights were on, the windows were open, someone was climbing in. And like I said, just touring it, we found the needles in the shack.
Yeah.
That was, and then the
I'm
gate
not
just got
saying that
broken.
there's no use for
Right.
them, but like
Limited.
just.
Yep.
But that would be the way to go in my eyes, is to come up with a plan and, and
For me, even just something there is a good thing for employees working in the shack, as a protection for them as well. If they're working there, for even the Y and the kids that are there, vehicles coming in and out of there, you'd have license plates. Safety for kids is the ultimate goal of anything. And I think that's also one of the things that's concerns that we're seeing, like the biscuit catcher on the slide, or the glass and the nails in the sandbox. These are things that kind of, I know if my kid came back totally cut up and full of holes I'd be a little crazy, because that's not something you think about at a public park, to look in the sandbox
Right.
for you to set your kid loose. So like I said, it's baby steps. There's a lot to do. 5-year and 10-year projects, I think, is how we're going to have to look at it, because it's 160 acres of
Yeah.
beauty that needs a little help.
I also like the idea too of thinking about, I mean, a sense of community that could come
Mhm.
out of that if some of this was, we're having a work day, we're building this.
That's what we're hoping for.
Because so many people around had so many talents.
Mhm. We're hoping to have a couple of community days a year, well, like one in the spring and one in the fall, where we potentially can get local resources or people to help out pruning or cleaning up or building a project down there. That's one of the things, that goals that we have in mind, is seeing, community bring us together. Someone brings burger or pizza and let's get her done.
I have mad backhoe and chainsaw skills. Let's go.
I do like chainsaws. I'm down with that. So
I think that the 10-year
Thank
plan
you.
allows us to pick here if we can, this is what
Yeah.
we got for budget, let's pick this one.
Right, and if,
It doesn't matter, it's in the whole scheme of the thing. So,
yeah,
yeah, I agree.
I agree.
Thanks.
And to pick on, were you here? We did the budget workshop for,
Yeah.
were you here that?
I was-
Matt is gonna be a trove of information.
And I think that's gonna help us, guide us in the direction where we can get a lot done and potential resources they have.
Yeah, when we walked in, Lindsay, and he was like, explained so much, the whole time we walked in, we were like, what is that? And he walked in, and he was like, oh, that's where the lifeguard sits, and that's where that lifeguard sits. I'm like, makes sense now, okay. Yep. Thank you. All right, moving on. Appoint warden for a new business. Appoint warden for November 7th state election. Do we volunteer on this? Because I don't have one either.
I would guess it would be.
It's in your signature
here.
packet.
Oh, it's
I was just saying, I feel like we just approve whatever's.
excuse me.
Just like we do with election people.
Oh, okay. Here we go. How many do we have? Just one?
Yep.
It's only
Yeah,
one warden
just one
per.
warden.
Yeah, perfect. All right, so Michelle, elect warden for the state of Maine referendum election for November 7th, 2023.
What exactly does a warden do in an election?
You're there to help oversee the elections and help in any way you can, voters that need help, take care of school ballots if that happens, help doing tallying, help with the election clerks. Any issues with machines that go wrong on the system, I can help, I have a couple of breaks. There's a problem on the books, people can call me over, things like that.
And you've done that.
I've done that for 5 years, I think.
Did you do that here in this town for,
For 5 years.
I knew you were a ballot clerk, I apologize, I didn't realize you
No,
were.
I've done moderator, I didn't like, that, the warden maybe 3 years, 4 years, I don't know, but I've done both.
So I'll make a motion to appoint Michelle Felicetti for warden for the November 7th state election.
I will second that motion.
Any discussion? More? All in favor? Aye. All right. Okay, the next is MDOT, request approval for transporting materials for a project on 202. It sounds like there's still, from what I've gathered, there's still decisions to be made.
They haven't awarded a bid yet,
Yeah.
right?
Right, to know where it's even coming out of.
Mhm.
So,
Yes, do we have to do this today?
No, we don't.
right, that was my thought. Do we wait until the award's been, I mean, do we have, can we really say no?
Of course we can, that's
I
why
think
they're
we
asking us.
can. They have to, they're required
Yeah,
by
right.
law, right?
Yeah.
They're opening the bids on November 15th. So I'm gonna make a motion that we table this.
Yeah, so that'll be before our next meeting.
Mm.
So that works out. We'll know at least what roads they're driving on.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a motion, we table this until our next meeting.
I'll second that.
All right, Jess, Linda, any discussion? All in favor? Table?
I, you're pretty good at tabling stuff.
We didn't table that much. 2 things.
The workshop on Friday.
That was not part of the original proposal, okay?
Discussion holiday gathering event for town hall. I don't even know. It's the first I've heard of this one.
So,
Oh,
and I guess there was a meet your fire chief and things like that over at the fire department. And some people thought that that might be a good idea to do at town hall. You know, come meet the treasurer, meet the town manager, meet the tax collector, and just kind of have a little gathering, meet your board, you know, kind of like a coffee roundhouse type of thing. So because somebody had mentioned it to Lindsay, she put it on your agenda so you could start having that discussion.
Yeah, we talked about doing something to get people to be able to meet, because, well, there was a discussion about, you know, a lot of people don't know who to come see for this or who to come see for that. Some people do, and, you know, that's all well and good, and some don't, but it was based off because of the community, interaction that went on at the fire department for that, event that they had. That was really fun. It was good. There was a whole lot of people there. So it was a good community
It's
event.
kind of
We're
an after hours.
trying to build, you know, build a sense of community. I know we already have one. We have a fantastic community. We have great neighbors and things, but a lot of people, we're not used to having a town manager yet either. And so I think it would be a great idea to get people to get to know who she is, so that when they have an issue, they can go to the proper channel and not circumvent her.
Yep.
And
Would we,
I love it.
we think, I don't want to, just throw these thoughts out there, I guess, just for food for thought, is do we do it on a Wednesday night? We're here late anyways. Maybe after 5, it's meet the police. Do we do a specific night?
that's good, except for the person that comes in to do something
Sure.
business-wise, but, and the
yeah.
planning board meets on Wednesday nights also, though.
Yep.
Yeah, they
Not
did.
every Wednesday, not every
No,
Wednesday.
every other, first and third,
First and third.
first and third,
Yep, so
without fail.
still not up there, just thinking without having to.
Dawn, have you ever
Or
failed?
did you want to do it like a Saturday or Sunday where people
Yeah,
might be more
yeah.
available? It's just to get this conversation started.
Yep, I think that's the idea, throw ideas out there.
I also feel like any gathering event, whether it's around the holidays or not, or it's just something, I mean, we need to have something to offer. So they're coming here. Is that when we do the pizza and beer thing, or do we?
Did you miss supper?
I haven't had
Food
beer
trucks in
in
the parking lot.
a long time.
All right,
Oh,
so.
food trucks, I like that idea.
guess
Hey, that's a
The
good
parking
idea.
lot, yeah, that too.
Need a bigger parking lot, yeah.
All right, I like that. That's a good start, I guess.
Anyway,
I'd like to
so, yeah, think about it, right?
I think it's a good idea. Why not? You know, it's not, it's just come in and meet them. It's not confrontational. It's not.
Yeah, right. I think it's a good idea.
I like it.
All right, I don't know if this is in here. Request the waiver of hold harmless agreement for volunteer work for Vicky.
So right now, we have a requirement that our contractors have a hold harmless agreement. They provide their insurance for whatever job they're doing. If they're driving, we need their vehicle insurance, their liability insurance. And Vicky, there's a whole bunch of grills and stuff out at the Bunganup Park, and she can't be paid anyway because she is on the board.
Exactly.
So she's volunteered to go and clean that up, and maybe another project. But if we could waive the hold harmless and the insurance and all the paperwork that goes along with it.
I don't wanna jump through hoops just to go and help clean that up. All I'm gonna do is take the tractor down there, hook a chain on them, get them in the bucket and put them in my truck and get rid of them. That's the plan.
So we also have, the telephone line was Jimmy rigged last year, and we kind of need a trench. And I have somebody who's volunteered to put the conduit in. So if you guys would think about that as well, that'd be, if you're willing, that'd be awesome.
So
Do whatever it takes.
I think that's great that you volunteered to do that. So I don't want to take this the wrong way, just in general terms, when we do this, I just want to make sure that somebody signs something saying, like, you don't need insurance and you don't need to, I get all that extra that we ask of people with the forms and the paperwork. But like, do we have anything like even a volunteer, like at my work, we have like you sign off saying like, I'm volunteering and I agree that I don't hold the university liable for anything that may happen while I'm doing this, or.
So we can do that, but you guys are also on the workers' comp. So you're considered an employee of the town.
Yeah, I guess I'm just thinking, you're saying, oh, and I have another volunteer that can do this. I just want to make sure that if we have volunteers doing things, I'm all for it. I just
yeah.
want to make sure that we're covered.
No,
so
that's
that
an
nobody
employee.
comes back around. Okay.
I have
That's an
insurance
employee.
on my
Yeah.
equipment, myself.
Yeah. I just want, yeah, that's
Yeah,
all. It's
I
not to
know where
you
she's
specific,
coming from.
it's
I
not
just
to
don't wanna
you
have to file
specific
and
by
jump
any
through
means.
hoops and
And
go to
then-
the state and get a thing
Just
and
to come down
Yep.
and do it.
just to go pick up, yeah.
Perfect.
I think like even like down later when we have usually have some volunteers.
Yeah,
I
sometimes things that,
Yeah,
and
no,
again,
I
this
mean-
is not specific to this instance, I just know in my experience, sometimes things that sound great because they're free end up not being free because of a variety of different reasons, so I'm fine, so
I totally get you.
I make a motion that we waive the hold harmless agreement for Vicky to be able to perform the volunteer work.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? I'm all set. All in favor?
I'll abstain.
Okay, yep, that makes sense.
Thank you, Vicky, for offering your time
no
and
problem.
your equipment and.
Yep.
Pray for no snow until just the side of Christmas.
I'm already praying. If I would, it's still
It's crunch
out.
time.
Oh.
So we wanted to throw it out there. Time to start thinking the B word. And what you guys might want to do as far as scheduling your meetings. I think looking at January might be a good idea. So did you want to do Tuesdays?
I think last year we started in December.
Did we really start?
We did.
Yeah, we might have just preliminary discussions.
Yeah, I don't think we like set
Yeah.
anything in stone, but I think we were like, hey, we want to think about this, we want to think about
Yep.
that.
I was gonna bring this up
Sooner the better.
tonight, because I think sooner rather than later is better, because I remember being on the budget committee, and the budget committee's waiting for our budget, and we didn't get it. There was a couple times, and one of the reasons that I joined the budget committee in the first place was because all the work was done in the wintertime, when it was my slow time. And as of late, it got later and later and later, and so I didn't want to do that to the budget committee. If we could help it. I think we have a pretty good handle on where our budget is going. Halfway through the cycle. You know, it's all a crapshoot anyway. Basically. It's a guess. I think we're gonna need this for this, and
I think one of the biggest struggles we're gonna have this year is when it comes to the transfer station hauling contract. That's gonna be one of the hardest hit areas, I believe.
Did you already get the Eco Main?
No, why?
What's going up to? $10 for municipal and $20 for recycling.
All right, can you forward that to me?
I can, yeah.
Thank you.
And I just want you to know that I did not vote in favor of it, even though it says that the board unanimously voted for it. I did not vote for it.
Do you want to tell them? 5 and 11 are for me. 4 and 18 are meetings already.
So what's your pleasure?
What'd you say about 5 and 11? Those are notes.
Yeah, I've
Okay.
got some.
No,
No, I
on
don't
a Friday.
I know.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Sorry.
Did you-
Just took my only free day of the week.
Okay, I just sent that
Shuffle.
to you, so you should have that.
Thank you.
Email
Um,
12, 19, those are Tuesdays. I don't know how Tuesdays work for people.
Yeah, Tuesdays and Wednesdays are my late nights at the library, so at least just one person there in the building.
Do you want to do your opposite Monday?
What if we do it at the library?
Then
Ooh.
I could work around that.
Sorry, I'm just selfish
Yeah,
because Tuesdays work
I
nice
can
for my life,
totally work
but
around that.
If they don't for others, I can make other things work.
How often are we talking? How long does it take?
Well, I'm thinking probably 2 in December to get the ball rolling. And then January push.
I gotta see when my birthday is. It's not on a Tuesday.
I mean, I could definitely do the 12th. I do the 19th.
I'm going with the 12th and the 19th for now.
Oh, yeah, I'll go back to back.
At the library?
Oh,
Is that
that's right.
allowed? Can we have that all around?
12th library.
Yeah.
And the 19th.
Talking December?
Yes.
I just wanted to be in the right
Do you
place
have
now.
new stickers for that?
I don't have budget stickers. You're gonna have to
Actually,
make some.
I think I might.
So tentatively, the 12th and the 19th at the library at 6.
Yes, please.
Sounds good.
Sounds pretty magical to me.
12th and the 19th.
Feel pretty good.
So officially that works like a
Tom's
dream in
not
my
here to
skin.
disagree, so. 12th and the 19th
Well-
it is, Tom.
You should have been here then, I guess.
He's recovered. I'll give him that. That's pretty awesome. Championship, yeah.
I do? Oh, geez.
We have to sign things.
Yes, we do. We can, yes.
Can I ask a question about the budget workshop that we scheduled for not the budget workshop, excuse me, the select board workshop? Can we also discuss a few other things at that, if there's time?
The Friday one that I
Yes.
Friday.
17th.
I would like to try to see how we can start incorporating some positivity things that happen around the community, like if we could reach out to the schools to get, Lyman Elementary or middle school, high school for Lyman students, fire department, just some things that we could start recognizing. So I think there's a lot of people that do a lot of things that nobody knows about. And
Agreed.
so if we can talk about something like that at that select board workshop too.
It's the town clerk workshop.
Yes,
Yep.
that one.
I should probably leave all my workshops.
All right, so we're not signing the
I'm
DOT.
sorry, I have enough to-
I don't have to. Same exact thing. Yep. Hold it off. Oh, that's a DOT.
Really only 3 things to sign today? It's 3, that's it?
That's what I'm looking at, the 2 warrants.
All right.
I dated everything.
We have to,
You
I
have
think
those.
we have 2 things.
The warrants and the appointment.
Yep,
Where's Michelle's appointment?
Yes,
As warden.
it should be in that file, right?
Is it? I don't remember. Maybe. Oh, just kidding. I did sign it.
You did sign it. Wow. You okay?
Listen, is that kind of
I want some of that.
month?
So, I don't remember all those dates now.
Hurry, you went through all that. Guess that's that.
Ready the turn.
Yeah, I like that. I really enjoyed that.
They've got quite a bit of information that they've collected, like about different people that they've done some booklets that are at the library that you can check out. They're pretty interesting.
Is the library open tomorrow?
Yeah.
I have 2 very overdue books that I found. Cleaned Maddie's room.
I haven't called you.
I know, because I brought back the rest. I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second that.
All in favor? Aye.
No, I want to stay.
Thank you.
You might as well stay. You're making me come here and do it.